I thank the organizers for inviting me to this auspicious occasion to make a presentation. Let me tell you that I value it so much, and it's great. Reflecting on the subject of interreligious cooperation, religious freedom and social stability, I'd like to premise my short remark first on the fact that today religion and the faith community is under siege. It appears to me like religion is at the center of the circumference, and people on the edges are asking existential questions. Why religion? What is the purpose? What value has it added to our lives? Are we not better off without religion? Why the tension? Is God there at all? Does he exist? Why are religious communities antagonistic of one another? These are the questions that, to my mind, the religious community must come together and answer. Otherwise, the increasing wave of secularism is already pushing religion and even God to the edges. And justly so, people are tired. I'm going to speak from the background of my experience as a Nigerian, as an Imam, as a member of the Nigeria Interreligious Council. But first and foremost, interreligious dialogue and cooperation. As people of different faiths coming to a mutual understanding and respect that allows them to live and cooperate with each other in spite of their differences. It is an arrangement of cooperative and positive interaction between people of different traditions at both the individual and institutional levels. Each party remains true to their religious convictions while respecting the rights of others to practice their faith freely. This, theoretically, is the definition of interreligious dialogue and cooperation. Our experience in Nigeria is that though there is a Nigeria Interreligious Council, which is supposed, among others, to ensure that there is an increased mutual understanding and good relations, especially between Muslims and Christians. By the way, in Nigeria, Muslims and Christians are evenly, balanced. Muslims constitute about 65% of the population, Christians about the rest. There is nobody in Nigeria, at least officially, that does not belong to either the Islamic or the Christian faith. Everyone in Nigeria is religious. So I can say Nigeria is a deeply religious country, deeply religious. It's even remarked that Nigeria is the most religious country in the world and the happiest set of human beings on the surface of the earth. Whether this is true or not, I may not be able to say here now. Nigeria is a thoroughly pluralistic society. Nigeria is divided into zones, geographical zones, geopolitical zones. You have the north that is predominantly Muslims. You have the southwest where you have, Muslims and Christians almost equal. You have the east where it is predominantly Christians and other adherents of the faith. Now, in the southwest, where I come from, we have more than 200 different religions. And I want to underline, 200 different religions among the Yorubas. The Yorubas are either officially Muslims or Christians, but traditionally they are either Shango worshippers, Ogun worshippers, Obatala worshippers, and a host of others. In one family, you can find the head of the family belongs to Oshu. The mother of the house may be an Ifa worshipper, and they live peacefully. There has never in history been an incidence of antagonism or conflict or violence. So coming from this background, you wonder why you get the kind of news out of Nigeria, especially of Boko Haram, and this is what we're going to do. Now, the cooperative and positive interaction between people of different traditions at both the individual and institutional levels is what the Nigeria Interreligious Council is set up to do. Each party remains true to their religious convictions while respecting the rights of others to practice their faith freely. Now, recently, in our country, Nigeria, the news had been that of violence, religious extremism, the radicalization of the younger elements, especially through the phenomenon of the Boko Haram. The Muslim and the Christian community and the leadership of these faith communities have officially been working together. But unfortunately, it has not produced the kind of results that will lead to social stability, peace, peaceful coexistence, and harmony that is desirable from this kind of an arrangement. We could ask, why? Starting from Jos, for those who follow Nigeria closely, where there has been an outbreak of so-called religious violence through Bauchi to Maiduguri in the northeast of Nigeria. The reason has been far from religion itself. It has been more social, economic, ethnic, and political, rather than the religious differences between the Nigerian Muslims. In the southwestern states of Nigeria, every family has Muslim members, Christian members, and people who belong to traditional faith. They have lived together peacefully over the years. They celebrate festivals together. They share in social and community work. By the way, Nigeria is officially a secular country, constitutionally, even if it is practically a multi-religious society, a multi-religious country. And this is a huge debate in Nigeria between Nigeria being a secular state and a multi-religious state where each religious community have the freedom to practice their faith, to express their religious identity. In fact, Nigeria has a plurality of laws. In the north of Nigeria, you have the penal code, and in the south of Nigeria, you have the criminal code. The penal code is informed mainly by the Muslim personal law, which is a derivative of the Sharia law. It is called Islamic personal law. In the north, also, you have the Sharia courts. Sharia courts of appeal handle Islamic personal law matters, matters relating to marriage, to divorce, to custody of children, to inheritance, and the rest. This has been the arrangement since the independence, and it has been a very peaceful arrangement. The government sits to regulate relation until the politicization of religious sentiments, the hijacking of religious sentiments, religious convictions, ethnic discontent that is exploiting religion as a vehicle of the manifestation of the inherent dissatisfaction that is arising from the inequalities, especially by the elites. Generally in Nigeria, there is relative religious freedom. There is no part of Nigeria that is exclusively Muslim. There is no part of Nigeria that is exclusively Christian. You find Muslims in the north, you find Christians in the north of Nigeria, and until very recently, due to political reasons, they practice the religion without let and hindrance. And you find Muslims in the southern and the eastern part, mainly the eastern part of Nigeria. They practice the religion. Igbos, who are mainly from the east, who are mainly Christians, Catholics, live predominantly in the north. And they have churches. They practice the religion freely. Now, this now takes us to the issue of the connection between interreligious cooperation, interreligious dialogue, religious freedom, and social stability. Of course, it could be better in Nigeria today, politically, economically, and socially. The social cohesion is challenged. Relative political instability, gross economic underdevelopment as a result of corruption. Now, because it is a predominantly religious community, this discontent found expression in religion and religious expression, by the way. Distinction is made between religious experience and religious expression, where religious experience is the conviction of the faith and its practice, and religious expression is the outward show of religiosity. In Nigeria, you have, on an average, in a street, you could have 50 churches. In a town, you could have thousands of churches and mosques, Sundays, Fridays, days of worship, and you will think it is, sometimes you go to Nigeria on Sunday, you will mistake it for Rome because of the number of people that attend. But how much of conviction, of faith are there? That is a question that must be answered. In summary, I want to say, like 137 Muslim leaders and scholars from across the world wrote a letter in 2007 to the Christian leaders. It says, Muslims and Christians together make up over half the world's population. Without peace and justice between these two religious communities, there can be no meaningful peace. The future of the world depends on peace between Muslims and Christians. These relation between Muslims and Christians depends largely on ensuring justice and fair play. When politicians get involved in religion, like our experience in the last general elections in Nigeria, which is the most bigoted, which is the most religiously dividing and divisive elections that we have had in Nigeria. The campaign is candidate A, a Muslim, candidate B, a Christian, whereas the underlying reality is election to high offices is not about faith. It's about the ability to deliver on election promises. Like the leader of the Muslim community in Nigeria once said, the parable of the mosquito. The mosquito is a friend and an enemy of all. The mosquito goes overnight to the church and bites the Christian, and early in the morning, he migrates to the mosque and bites the Muslim. So taking perhaps the malarial parasite from the Christian and injecting into the Muslim. It doesn't discriminate. There is no Muslim blood. There is no Muslim organ that cannot fit into a Christian. A Christian needing blood transfusion, for those who believe in transfusion, will not ask a doctor, what blood are you giving me? Is it the blood of a Muslim? If it is the blood of a Muslim, I don't want it. At that critical moment, it is humanity, it is blood. It is only to cross-match and ensure that it matches. It doesn't really matter whether the blood is that of a Muslim or a Christian or a Sikh or a Jew or whatever. What matters is that someone needs blood. The same thing goes to organ donation. If somebody is critically ill and there is a donor, the question to ask is not whether the donor is a Christian or Muslim, a Sikh, or someone who is not affiliated. The question to ask is, does it fit? And if it fits, it goes. But largely, our experience as a faith community in Nigeria is that majority of people in charge of religion have nothing to do with religion. They either lack integrity altogether or they are religious contractors. If they're not contractors, they are religious consultants, politicians masquerading as religious leaders. To a very great extent, there are monumental changes beginning to manifest in Nigeria today. The people, especially through the last election, have come together to speak with one voice. It is not about religious affiliation. It is about integrity. It is about probity. And we're beginning to witness changes where Muslims vote irrespective of their religious affiliation, and Christians also vote irrespective of their affiliation. To a very large extent, we do not have some of the problems of religion as it is peculiar to other climes. And, you know, we do not have problem with same-sex marriage. Universally, you know, the community, the faith community in Nigeria have said, that's why I was asking about social stability and social change. It is, for us, religiously stable to restrict marriage within the traditional definition of union between a man and a woman. And we're all right, we're fine. Muslims, Christians, we're all right with this. And will it be wrong for us to choose to remain like this if we do not want to change? Or must change be imposed on us? I think these are questions for reflection. Thank you very much.